I love the last presentation because it talked about food supply and the importance of shipping and getting to use a technology to make the shelf life a little more stable, to allow a product to be shipped a further distance in order to create better access. Here we have, as part of our company, the key same element, but solved completely differently. Rather than making a product that ships longer and further and stays more stable, we bring the product to the consumer. And I'm going to talk to you a bit here about commercial indoor vertical farming, its future. And if I just leave a couple of things with you today, please take away that this is a food revolution that's coming. It's here today. It's going to change how leafy greens are grown. The technology is here. It works. And where is the... it creates just amazing, amazing product. So I'm with Aero Farms. There are several companies that are trying to grow indoors at various states of maturity. We're one of the earliest and one of the most mature. And we're using a proprietary technology, aeroponic mist, where we have a controlled environment, a building where we're growing 12 levels high, and have a solution where between the solution and the environment, we're controlling about 22 different inputs to the plant, which we monitor closely to give the plant exactly what it wants to be happy. The light spectrum, the 18 different items in the solution mist, temperature, humidity, CO2, all exactly what makes a healthy, happy plant. Here is a picture of healthy, happy plants. We're growing 8 varieties commercially today. This is red romaine with a nice, healthy root system that would hang down into the aeroponic mist, which is just very humid air. It's not actually in a liquid. Here's another picture also of red romaine under LED lights. If you were to look at our org chart, you see that we are a company that has operations we'll talk about in a minute, but the biggest expenses are around innovation and around IP creation. We have teams of scientists, true scientists, PhDs in their respective fields, engineers that are building the plant to grow plants of the future. Where we are as a company at this point, we're a little later than some of the companies here. We just closed on a Series D round of about $40 million just in May and June of this year, and that brings our total capital into the company of about $100 million, over $100 million. And our current business plan is to grow locally, globally, at the leafy greens that you were seeing. Ultimately, though, we are a capabilities company. We know how to grow plants indoors to elicit the characteristics that people want. So the applicability of this across different customer bases, such as to grow specialty plants for pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, things like berries, things that we can't grow row crops or things that grow really tall, but things that grow quickly and need a high level of quality and precision, we're able to do very well. And then also, the panel before was about impact investing and the applicability of technologies internationally. Right now, we are working internationally as well, but our primary focus is in the US. And the reason for that is there's a great addressable market of leafy greens that we can address profitably today. But it's all about the product right now for us, and this is our product. And I can't, another thing to leave with you, I think a lot of other ag products that have moved indoors, there's quality compromises. This is not the case with leafy greens. This is the most amazing salad you've ever had. We have peppery arugula. We have kale that's sweet and tender. We have varieties that really haven't been grown much. My favorite is Ruby Streaks mustard greens that have a nice little mustard kick to it that we put in our spicy mix. And it's amazing. And this is recognized in a couple of ways. One, with our tastemaker partners. We are in a David Chang restaurant. More up and coming, Mark Samuelson also in the New York area. And just last week we were on a Mario Batali's show where I made a pasta with our arugula. But those tastemakers are important, but what's even more important are consumers buying this product. And we are selling this product at the same price point as other commercial field-grown product today. But it's local, it's better, it's pesticide-free, it's herbicide-free, it's fresh. If you're in New York and you go to buy a clamshell of material, of any of the leafy greens, be it kale, arugula, baby leafy green mix, it's shipped from California, probably, possibly from northern Mexico or Arizona. And this takes from field side to store 7 days, possibly more, maybe a little bit less, where that life of that plant is well towards its end before it ever makes it onto a store shelf and you take it home. And then additionally, the varieties that are grown not for taste and nutrition and texture, but grown for hardiness in the field and shelf life. Here is our retail packaging. It's Dream Greens. These are our current retail partners. We're at ShopRite, Whole Foods, Fresh Direct in New Jersey, and through restaurant channels as well. We've got 6 SKUs right now and growing 8 products. But getting to that end product isn't just taking a technology and growing around it. It takes biology, it takes environment, it takes operations, and it takes mechanical expertise. We have our team headquartered in Newark, New Jersey, that is working on all of that every day. And I think the complexity that it takes to do this endeavor at scale is something that is not appreciated by much of the market. We're fortunate to have been growing since 2004 and had really nice access to capital to allow us to get to where we are today. Here is our full commercial scale farm in Newark. That's not a mock-up, that is our farm. And that is growing just absolutely fantastic product today. I can't tell you enough like how exciting it is to eat the product and to see the technology. But it's a big push to go from small scale, prototype scale, to commercial, to then in this technology where the capital intensity is very high, to having a good sized viable business. And this is the stage of where we are today, is thinking about how do we go from this one commercial farm where we have validated price point, we have validated cost structure, we have validated our yields, we have validated that consumers can't get enough of this product, but now we still have to go from proving those unit economics to building a big company in the US, which then will allow us to also go to other markets that need us around the world. And for our business plan, we are foreseeing about $1 billion capital need, and it's a big jump to go from the type of Angel A, even where we are D, the equity returns that are required by those investors to getting access to the appropriately priced capital that gives returns that is typical for an asset-heavy business, which this is. And a key element of that for us has been using impact investment. Impact investing, not necessarily the equity type that we've been talking about in this room, but rather impact investors that are focused on elements of investing other than just high volumes of returns. And for us, this was debt markets around the New Markets Tax Credit Program. So that farm that we just showed on the previous slide was built with New Markets Tax Credits from the federal government, focused on economic development. And then the allocatees of those credits, like the economic development, job creation, creating clean, healthy food and food deserts. And we had great local partners in terms of Prudential, headquartered in Newark, Goldman Sachs, that funded that effort. And that worked really well to get us to that farm. But it is not an effective way to go scale a business. So right now we're looking forward, and with these economics proven, thinking about how do we go from this to getting the large dollars of equity that we need and debt, regular plain old debt that would come off of a desk that could be originated by a bank that supports growing a business that's asset heavy. And it turns out that indoor growing is actually pretty well suited to attract debt when you demonstrate everything that debt providers expect to see. Unlike field farming, where there's certainly a lot of lending around that, a lot of finance available for that, it's inherently fixed with variability and factors that feel quite different than project debt, than cash flow oriented debt, which is for which there is a very deep and liquid market. We're doing something that's key, we believe, to growing a big business in a good amount of time, which is we are price takers. We are selling at the same price point that the competing product is on a store shelf. So no premium, and that means that we are essentially price takers, and we have the demonstrated sell-through now that's been sustained with customers loving our quality. In the indoor farm, we're not faced with the variability of being outside, so we've got really predictable yields. I mean, when we see something fall just a tiny bit, we're asking ourselves why, because we can control everything. We use machine learning, we use sensory networks, we use really a lot of data intensity to understand what's going on in the farm and get very, very stable, uniform yields. We grow a crop every 16 days, or about 22 crops a year, and we're harvesting 5 to 7 days a week, depending upon the customer needs. The cost structure, steady and fixed, very predictable. Cash flows, when you understand your revenue and you understand your cost, very, very stable, sustainable cash flows as well. And it's a little uncorrelated with field farming too, in that we're using a lot of CapEx around just warehouses and buildings that can be redeployed for other purposes as well. So what we found as we've gone to look for capital, the keys to forming that capital have been having the right management team and capitalization, having that production, those financial statements proven out, where we have proven yields, proven cost structure. And if you were to ask me something that keeps me up at night, it would be food safety. We invest a lot in food safety, and we're going to have safe food coming out of our plant. We have a natural ability to produce safe food, as we don't have outside pests and birds and miscellaneous sources of contamination to deal with. But we still have an intense food safety focus. And if someone comes along and manages to not have the very high food safety standards that are in place, and were to somehow make people sick, as had happened in the sprouts industry over time, it will give our industry a black eye. And we want to make very sure that we have this as a strength of the industry and not a negative. The future is really amazing for this technology. We here in California, for those of you, we're blessed with being close to fields, so we're not on store shelves here, and we're not going to be anytime soon. But if you're in the New York area, and we'll be having announcements and expanding further, please give Dream Greens a try, and I think you'll be amazed at what the future of farming will deliver to your mouth and for your enjoyment. Thank you.